Hello and welcome to the Spirit Spa, an online sanctuary dedicated to supporting you if you're in the early stages of recovering from a nervous breakdown, so that you can identify why the breakdown has happened to you and work out your next natural steps towards rebuilding a flourishing life for yourself. I'm Karen Packwood, and in today's message from the wilderness, I'm going to be answering a question from one of the viewers who has emailed me and asked me this question. Karen, after your breakdown, did it take you a while before you were able to trust yourself again? This was particularly in relation to thoughts, very confused thoughts, very fragile thinking, feeling very vulnerable around decision making. And so the short answer to that is yes, it did take me a while to trust my whole kind of thought process, if you like. I definitely felt extremely traumatized. I found making decisions very overwhelming. I often found conversations with people confusing. There's no doubt that my brain was in a very traumatized and incredibly fragile state in those first few months following my breakdown. And for some time afterwards, and even sometimes still today, I find that I feel very overwhelmed or very fragile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually explain a little bit about how I actually have dealt with that, and how I've also worked with my clients to help them deal with those moments when they find thinking very overwhelming, when they feel a little bit bombarded and not quite sure how to actually deal with those experiences. So I do have my journal with me, because there's a few things here and I wanted to make sure that I actually said all of them. So I will be referring to my journal, but also I do have a journal activity for you for the wilderness writing segment of this video as well, so make sure you have your journals handy too. What did I do to actually help myself when I felt very overwhelmed by thoughts and I couldn't really trust whether my mind was telling me the right thing or the wrong thing, and I felt very fragile? Well, there were several things that I did that I started to include as part of my daily life, and I still use them as a foundation for my daily life today. I wouldn't be able to kind of function in my daily life if I didn't include these as part of my natural kind of life habits, if you like. So the very first thing that I did, and I've mentioned this a lot in my previous videos, is that I gave myself permission to be extremely slow with myself, and I still give myself permission to do that. I have had to change the speed of my life dramatically. I work at a much slower pace. I do much fewer activities in my daily life. I have consciously decided to slow my life down because that's what I needed. The extent of my breakdown was so traumatic that is what I needed. I can't function in an over busy, over hectic life anymore. And I'm really glad, because my life is much happier now than when I was living at that crazy pre-breakdown life and in that crazy pre-breakdown experience. So I'm very grateful that I'm really honouring my own natural pace, my own natural rhythm, my own natural speed, because I'm a much happier person because of it. So I fully recommend you listen to your own natural speed and rhythm. The next thing I did was that I actually learned to use meditation as a form of healing. I'd actually already been using meditation prior to my breakdown, but obviously not effectively enough. But the real difference is around not so much, of course meditation is about helping yourself disconnect from your thinking, but what I learned to do was actually to sort of begin to come down to work with listening to the guidance of my heart and my body, working with the wisdom of my body, so that I didn't always have to kind of rely on confused thinking, that I could come down much more to work with my instincts. You've heard in my previous videos me talk about connecting with the inner healer. Part of working with the inner healer is all about working in alignment with the wisdom and guidance of your instincts, your heart, your body. There is immense wisdom in your body, that when your mind is feeling confused and your thoughts are feeling confused, if you come down into the kind of the more earthy, more grounded energy of your heart and your body, this will help you actually calm your thinking and bring yourself to a place where you can think more calmly and trust your judgments more effectively. So that was one of the things that I learned to do and still do and teach as well. The next thing that I did was I used writing as a form of healing, a form of calming myself, a form of calming my thoughts, of channeling my thoughts, of processing my thoughts. You know that I do a lot of journaling work for myself, but also with my clients. It's a major form of healing as far as I'm concerned. And so I just would write endlessly, streams of writing, and eventually clarity would come to me, or my confused thinking. It was almost as if my thoughts were so scattered from the trauma of my experience that I would write in a very scattered way. There would be lots of kind of, going off on tangents and so on. But eventually what happens is that the writing becomes calmer, it becomes more peaceful, clarity comes, guidance and wisdom comes through the writing, especially if you do it in connection with the meditation processes. So that was one of the things that I did and still do, and also use with my clients. Another thing that's really important is also talking to people. When we have had a breakdown, often we carry an awful lot of shame, and we're frightened to actually open up and discuss things with people. Often right at the beginning we don't even have the energy to do that. But once you've come to the point where you do have a little bit more energy, it is possible for you to actually speak and talk to people who you trust. But obviously make sure that it's people that you genuinely trust. Don't just talk to anybody. Know that these are people who are going to respect your vulnerability, respect your fragility, truly respect the fact that you often feel overwhelmed. Sometimes we find people are very insensitive towards that. Couldn't find the right word there, but are insensitive to that. They don't understand it. They want to push you. Sometimes they might even want to be critical of you. But don't allow those kind of people into your world. Make sure that you're only speaking to people who will genuinely respect who you are and where you are at this moment in time, wherever that happens to be. Another thing that I did was, as you know, I use nature a lot, but was walking. Again, as we walk, we take ourselves out of our minds, we allow our minds to calm down, and we bring our energy back down into our body and down into a connection with the earth. This helps us feel much calmer, it slows us right down, and it shifts our thinking. And so our confusion, our vulnerability, our fragility and so on can all just be calmed down by just gentle walking. And what I would often find is that, as you know, I use a process called soul walks, and what I would often find is that as I begun one of my walks, I would often start with, perhaps whatever the issue was that was bothering me, the problem that was making me feel confused or anxious in my mind where I couldn't find the answer. And I would start off by kind of beginning the walk by asking the question, what's the answer to this particular problem, conundrum? And I'd kind of, I would find that I would spend all of the way walking in one direction, mulling over it and churning it over and obsessing over it and just not being able to find the right answer. And then as I turned around to start walking home again, the answers would begin to come to me. So walking was invaluable to me, because it really helped me just calm everything down and release any of the confusion, anxiety, terror, fragility, vulnerability, sense of overwhelm and bombardment at those times. Of course, the other thing is plenty of sleep, making sure that you are resting, sleeping, eating and drinking really healthily, so that you're really nourishing every single aspect of your body. So they are some of the techniques that I used right at the very beginning when I was feeling truly overwhelmed, truly fragile, and I still use them to this day. I don't let people rush me. I have to take lots of time to think things through. I find it quite difficult to trust my instincts straight away. I have to actually spend time really listening to my instincts, really listening in and thinking about, you know, what's the right thing here and what's the wrong thing here. So make sure that you are allowing yourself to have the time that you need to process your thoughts and feelings, so that you are genuinely connect with them. So by the time you do make any decisions, you know that you're coming from a place of true, genuine self-care and authenticity. So for our wilderness writing activity today, make sure you have your journals with you, and I'm just going to ask you some questions, and I'd like you to take some time to answer them. Now, the first question is this: how do I feel that my thinking has been impacted by my breakdown? How do I feel that my thinking has been impacted by my breakdown? Take some time. Allow yourself to write for as long as you wish to. If you feel it's easier for you, then draw sketches. Whatever wants to come forward naturally for you at this moment in time to answer this question, allow yourself to do that. And then when that feels complete, I'd like you to then ask yourself this question: how can I help myself at these times? And listen into your own instincts. How can I help myself at these times? I've given you lists of techniques that I've used to help and support myself, but for you it might be different. You might have different things that will help you and support you. What are they? Make a note of them in your journal. To consolidate them, maybe share them in the comments box below, or email me at karenpackwood@gmail.com and share them with me. But see if you can think of a list of things that are going to really help you and support you at times when you feel that your thinking is fragile and you're not sure whether you can trust your own thoughts and judgments. And when that feels complete, give yourself permission to honour them, to set boundaries with people, to set boundaries with yourself and for yourself, to make sure that you are doing what you need to do to allow yourself to make decisions, clarify your thinking in a way that feels gentle, kind, loving and protective to yourself at the highest level, because that's what recovery is all about, is coming into a place of caring for yourself at the highest level. So how can I help you further? Well, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer to support you with any aspect of this video or any aspect of your recovery in general, please email me at karenpackwood@gmail.com or leave comments in the comments box below. If you feel you would like to explore doing some deeper one-to-one work with me, please go to the description box below and you'll find links to my website pages and how you can do some deeper work with me. You'll also find testimonials from people who have already worked with me, so please look at those testimonials to see how working with me has helped them. If you've liked the video, please don't forget to like it, and if you wish to subscribe to the channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you get regular updates of my videos. And in the meantime, until my next video, I'm wishing you a very peaceful and loving day. Take care. Bye-bye.